This is the story of Jesus, a beloved teacher. Although he lived long ago, his lessons of love and kindness still bring hope and joy to people all over the world. Jesus was born more than 2,000 years ago in a land called Israel. He grew up in the town of Nazareth with his brothers and his sisters and their parents, Mary and Joseph. Joseph was a carpenter. He taught Jesus how to shape rough wooden logs into sturdy beams for building homes. He showed Jesus how to make plows and shovels that were straight and strong. He helped Jesus craft tables and chairs and cups and bowls that were both beautiful and useful. Joseph and Mary raised Jesus in the traditions of their Jewish faith. Jesus learned to read the Torah, a sacred book that Jewish people believe was inspired by God. As Jesus and Joseph worked side by side in the carpentry shop, they talked about religion. Jesus felt a strong connection to God. He began to sense that God had called him to bring people a new message of love and forgiveness. Every year, Jesus' family celebrated the Jewish holiday of Passover in the city of Jerusalem, the center of Jewish life. Jewish loved to sit among the teachers at the great temple and listen to their lively conversations. He was very curious and asked many questions. The teachers were amazed at how much he understood. When he grew up, Jesus began to travel the countryside and tell people about his ideas, about living together in peace and harmony. Soon crowds gathered to hear him preach. People who were sick often came to him, and he helped them feel better. News of Jesus as a healer and a teacher spread. Jesus didn't do this work alone. A group of men and women traveled with him. He chose 12 friends called disciples to help him teach his ideas to others. "Come, follow me," he said to the disciples. Together they walked from village to village, sharing their new ideas with anyone who wanted to listen. Jesus said, "We should love one another because God loves us. God loves each one of us, even when we make mistakes or do wrong." This idea of God surprised people. Jesus often told stories or parables to teach people about God. One day he told this parable. Once there was a shepherd who looked after a flock of 100 sheep. When the shepherd noticed that one little lamb was missing, he was very upset. Leaving the flock, the shepherd searched high and low from dawn to dusk. When he finally found the lost little lamb, he was filled with joy. This parable helped Jesus explain how God loves and cares for each one of us, just like the shepherd loves and cares for each one of his sheep. Mothers and fathers brought their sons and daughters to meet Jesus. At first, the disciples waved them away, worried that the children would bother Jesus. But Jesus gathered the children around him and blessed them. "Let the little children come to me," he said. Jesus believed we should love one another, even people who aren't our friends. Treat everyone the way you would like them to treat you, he taught. Love your neighbor as much as you love yourself. Someone asked, "But who is my neighbor?" And Jesus answered with another parable. Once upon a time, there was a Jewish man who was attacked by robbers while on a journey from Jerusalem to Jericho. A traveler walked by and saw the man lying, injured by the side of the road, but he didn't even stop to help. Another traveler came along, but did not stop either. Then a Samaritan walked by. The Samaritan could see that the man who was injured was a Jew. Even though the Samaritans and the Jews had different religious beliefs and often did not get along, this traveler stopped to help. The Samaritan cleaned and bandaged the injured man's wounds, then helped him onto his donkey, took him to an inn, and paid for his stay until the man was well enough to travel again. As the crowd listened, Jesus told them, Go and care for one another like a good Samaritan did. We are all neighbors. We can show our love for others by taking care of all people who need help. Jesus taught his followers to look for ways to live together in harmony, to learn to forgive, and to settle arguments in a peaceful way. Blessed are those who work to bring peace into the world, he said, for they are children of God. One of the disciples asked, "What if someone treats me badly? How many times should I forgive? 7 times?" Jesus answered, "No, not 7 times, but 70 times 7 times. Jesus meant that we should always forgive one another, just as God forgives us. As he went from village to village, Jesus reached out to help sick people get well and to feed those who were hungry. He treated everyone with the same kindness, men and women, Jews and non-Jews, rich and poor, and good and bad. But now Jesus had many followers, but not everyone was happy about it. The leaders in Jerusalem noticed the big crowds that gathered whenever Jesus spoke. They wondered if the people might quit turning to them for advice and stop following their rules and traditions. Once the disciples knew that the leaders disapproved of Jesus, they were worried. When they gathered for their Passover meal that year, Jesus blessed the bread and wine and gave thanks to God. "May peace be with you," he said to the disciples. Jesus asked them to remember him and his lessons no matter what happened. Today, this meal is known as the Last Supper. Some people share bread and wine in church as a way to remember it. After the Last Supper, things happened fast. Soldiers arrested Jesus, saying that he was stirring up trouble. In those days, the worst criminals were punished by being nailed to a wooden cross and left to die. Jesus was punished in this terrible way. As Jesus suffered on the cross, his mother Mary and his friends gathered by his side. They knew that Jesus had done nothing wrong, and they were filled with sadness. After Jesus died, his followers carried on his teaching and honored his memory. Jesus' message of love and kindness spread throughout the world. Now, 2,000 years later, we can still learn from the life and the lessons of Jesus. Some say that Jesus was the Son of God. They say that after Jesus died, God resurrected him or brought him back to life. They celebrate his resurrection on Easter Sunday. Some people say that Jesus was a wise and beloved teacher, whether or not he was the Son of God. They say it is important to remember him because he taught us to treat people with love and to stand up for justice and peace. No one knows for sure what day Jesus was born, but many people celebrate his birthday on Christmas Day, December 25th. This is a day of joy and generosity spent with family and friends, sharing food, singing songs, and giving gifts. We celebrate the life of Jesus by trying to live as he did, with full hearts, loving words, and kind actions. The end.